I feel low.
Hey guys, it's your girl Sunny D, 1/3 of the podcast GFT Radio Show.
What up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles from the GFT Radio Show. Just letting you know you can catch us every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern.
And to get some merch, I got some on right now. Go to teesprings.com/stores/GFT Radio.
Grown Folk Talk Radio. Join the conversation. Let's have some fun. Holla at us.
What up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles in the building. Welcome to GFT Radio Show. And today is January 25th, 2021. January is just about over. Y'all want to say what up?
What up, though?
What's going on, good people? How y'all doing out there? Have a dope ass show.
Right.
Hey, guys.
No doubt. Tonight's show is brought to you by last week's show. So we're having a continuation of last week's feminism show, feminism versus womanism. So tonight's show is we're going to delve into a little bit more of that with the misogyny, misandry, and everything in between. Just see where the topic takes us. So no doubt.
Okay. I wanna first I wanna ask you because this was basically your idea when you came up wanted to talk about misogyny. Would you consider it sexism in that as well?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because it's like because I started doing some research on the topic, like you asked us to.
Right.
I was noticing, like in this era, I got a few articles that a lot of people confuse it to, especially since we're in like the Me Too era
Yes.
or whatever. So those two terms get conflated with each other when they're actually two distinct different things.
Okay.
As far as misogyny and sexism, when it pertains to a man, it's like they're two different things.
Yeah, when I originally came up with the idea for this womenism and versus feminism episode, the misogyny part I just wanted it to kind of complement because of the fact that feminism has this dark light on it about the sexism that's involved, and so that basically where the misandry part comes in at, but the misogyny part is like one of those things that it's just hard to ignore, right? It's the exact opposite of what feminism has been kind of accused of, right? So but when I was doing kind of some research, like you said, in terms of misandry, one thing I found that was funny was that or that interesting, not funny, but interesting, was that there was this whole thing about, is misandry even a thing? Like, is it, can we call, women misandrous, or can we accuse women of misandry and that kind of thing? And it created this kind of double standard. And you know how we're always combating these double standards, either here on the show, in the group chat, that kind of thing, or in the group, rather, the Facebook group. Make sure y'all join the conversation on the Facebook group. Make sure you like and subscribe and all the other stuff. Hit the notification bells. But in terms of that idea or that term, I was surprised to see that. I was actually surprised to see that, especially because of the fact that a lot of times we hear that, right? We hear that feminism brings about women bashing in and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say that in a little bit too. Like when you look up misandry, it's kind of like hold up, know what I mean? Like, how y'all get a pass? Like, know what I mean? Like, how y'all try to come like y'all that ain't a real thing. And like you said, I said that's the reverse of it. That's the double standard. You know what I mean? And I was like, but
It basically, how can women be misandry?
Yeah, and it's like when you say it, it comes off like, damn, they're gonna think I'm sexist if you know what I mean, it's like that.
Oh yeah,
It's like
yeah,
that double standard. It's like that. You
no
damned
doubt.
if you do, if you damned if you don't when you
Right.
speak on it.
Yeah, just for speaking on it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Now going back to last week's topic, Sonny, we didn't really dive deep into that part of it. What did you feel, or what do you feel, or how do you feel about the combination of feminism being attributed to, misandry or male bashing or putting down or deflating men,
Well,
women's
I
status?
feel like the same way I feel about just regular conversation. You shouldn't have to bash somebody else to prove your point. Like, and that's, we said that in the group plenty of times. You can have an argument. We say that here. We can have a disagreement, and I may not agree with you, but I don't have to insult you or like be like bashing you to get my point across. I should be able to be an adult enough to get my point across without attacking you in the process. It's just, this is how I feel. This is the point. So why I feel the way I feel. You may not understand why I feel the way I feel, or may not feel like I'm validated by feeling the way I feel, but at the end of the day, this is what it is. So let's have this conversation. Right. So and that's just with any conversation. So and I think that's why you see the difference of feminism versus womanism, because womanism included men, or black men particularly, but men and the thing, because it's like we can still be for us, but not necessarily be against our men, because I think womanism understood that, as like I said, it was more towards women of color. It was more of, we got to protect ourselves because we're like on the lowest of the totem poles, but let's not take our men down because they're still trying to get what they got to get. And we're not going to be responsible for, basically tearing them down in the process of trying to make ourselves be better.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
That's my process, but
I wanted to see if I could share the screen.
Good evening.
Hey, Dame. You got a haircut?
Yep.
Oh, Carl Wilson got a haircut.
How's my son doing?
Screen?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Y'all off the hook right now. But so now oh crazy. But like I said, I was looking up the difference between misogyny and sexism. So I actually have two articles up here. One was from Vox, and it was basically interview. The reporter was interviewing Kate Mann. But then I found another article from How Stuff Works, and they actually mentioned what she was saying in that article. So you want to understand the difference. In misogyny, the Webster Dictionary says it's real simple: hatred of women. Now, I mean, Dictionary.com takes it a step further and more elaborately defines the term as hatred, dislike, or mistrust of women or prejudice against women. Hey, man, from a philosophy professor from Cornell, she explains a social where women face hostility and hatred. They're women in a man's world, a historical patriarchy. Now, when it comes to sexism, sexism is defined as prejudice or discrimination based on sex or behavior, conditions, or attitudes that foster stereotypes of social roles based on sex. Now, when they asked her the difference there, misogyny is what enforces it, sexism, and sexism is just like, let me see if I can find it. Y'all still with me on this page? Is it still showing?
Yep, it's still showing.
Okay. See, Sean said, I thought misogyny was ideology, a body of ideas that exists to justify social relations. But you argued that this is sexism. and that misogyny is better understood as a moral manifestation of sexist ideology.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like that's how she she separates the two, and how a lot of people separate the two.
So that's how she's separating two. I mean, in my mind, when I think of sexism versus misogyny, I always think of sexism as the ability to have prejudice or to set up gender roles and have ideologies around some genders are better at some things than others based on any gender, right? It doesn't have to be specifically a man can be better than a woman all the way around, or that a woman can be better. Like I always think of sexism as just basically, having a prejudice against a person based on their sex in relation to either what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish, or what they're trying to be a part of. So in terms of like there's this thing going around where they're saying, should we allow little boys to be princesses? Should we allow certain kids to play with certain types of toys? Can girls play with race cars? Can boys play with baby dolls? Can they all play with play kitchens? So it's like these gender roles and these pre-existing ideologies around that is where the sexism in my mind comes in. But misogyny being this thing where just us as men holding over women this ability to like function in this world without our help or without our oversight, right?
Like you pretty much can't do stuff by yourself because you need a man to help you do that. Like you can't do it.
Exactly. Or you need the man's support, or like you look at older TV shows and a woman may want to maybe have a home or something, and they expect the wife or a husband to have make that purchase for them, or if you're going to be going into a woman that you need to be married in order to be successful, as a woman. Yeah. So those are, in my mind, misogynistic ideals and things like that, when it's turned over to being, a man. It's a man's world, and women are just a pawn in that world.
Yeah.
You know what got me when you were talking about the old TV shows is, remember the old saying that talking to a single woman, they would say, you need to settle down, have you get married to be an honest woman. I never understood what that meant. Like, it's like,
because back in the day, you were seen as the old maid, or just like whatever it was, whatever the term was, that like you just a Jezebel or something, like you weren't desirable because you weren't like, and that was the idea we were instilled early in, like what our job was to make babies.
Right.
Yeah. We're here to produce babies and raise the kids, if that.
In this culture, let's be clear, because that's not every culture thing. So
not our culture, but like that's basically what we saw.
Yeah, I'm talking about American culture. In American culture, that's how.
But then you start to see.
Trained.
Yeah, but then you start to see, as it changes, you see in working women and stuff like that. So I think and that's like the back in the day way of life was, that's what your job was supposed to be, just be at home, take care of the kids. And there's a lot of men that currently still believe that. They don't want a woman who, I think somebody posted in a group about men not dating broke girls. And it's like, well, some men want girls that don't do anything because they have that role of that they have the idea that I'm a man, I provide for you, you just sit and have babies and cook and clean for me. And some women are okay with that.
Some men are okay with that. Yeah.
And it's some men that are okay with that. And it's some men that want a woman to meet him 50-50 and be that teammate versus that somebody they always take care of, because then you get you just wanted me for my money, I took care of you type of vibe. So then you got the rise of the independent women.
so now would you categorize people having gender role ideas as being sexist?
I would be more as a misogynist.
No,
because you have this ideal of that's just a woman's place, is to have babies and
that's the definition of sexism.
Oh, okay.
Misogyny is when it's sort of like racism and prejudice. See, we always call people who don't like black people racist. Well, racism is when you have the authority to abuse. So when you have some sort of power over you, you know what I mean? When somebody has some sort of power over you and use that against you.
Okay.
So that's sort of like misogyny. So when men have a power over you, so he can have those views, but if he don't got I mean, he really can't do nothing. You
I thought that was
understand?
bigotry.
I
thought that was it?
No,
bigotry.
Bigotry is just.
No, wait. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just having prejudice.
Yeah, I was just looking up the different terms between racism. It was a while ago. Between racism, prejudice, and bigotry.
Racism. You have to have some. Yeah, racism. You have to have some
power.
You have to have power.
Yeah, you're trying to suppress them. I think one of them you're trying to suppress the race. The other one you just can't stand them.
Right. That's right. That's the
that's prejudice. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's prejudice. That's sort of like when you translate it to sexism is sort of the
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's the same way. Misogyny, they got the power. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think the big thing though is like we know that misogyny. We know misogyny is a thing, right? We know that there's a lot of men out here who have misogynistic ideas. How do you think that affects not only, from a power standpoint, not only, government, company, corporate America, things like that.
Some churches are like that too.
Say it again.
Churches are like that too.
Oh yeah, true that.
They like big.
I guess that's the question. What other areas? Because I was about to say what other areas, but I was thinking about one thing. But yeah, so what other areas?
No, because I think because it's crazy. I thought about that because I was having a conversation with my son's teacher. She's a minister. Oh, hello guys. She's a minister at her church. But had she been at my church, there's no way that would happen because she's a female. Your place is the usher, a mother, definitely in the choir, but you was not about to be nobody's deacon, no minister, nothing. Jesus, you wasn't going to do it.
Now, growing up, like what Taylor was saying, that girls are said to live at home, and guys are actually encouraged to move out at a certain age. Where I had a guy friend who was more on lack of just being lazy. He stayed at home
forever.
Forever. I think he's still there actually, living in his mom's basement.
That's terrible.
I mean, for the longest he didn't have a job, and he just lived under his mom's roof. Now this is a lot of double standards. Like maybe he's there to help her out. You don't know if you don't know his situation. Maybe he's down on his luck. But the point is,
but that's the ideal too. That we feel like, and this another. Maybe this is sexist, but I know when we see most of us see homeless people, and it's a man that seems able-bodied and capable. It's like, why you don't got no job?
Right.
Like, why are you? Like because that when you look at it realistically speaking, and this is being all the way up front, a man is probably able quicker to get a job than a female because they can do. Like they're seen as that they can do more
options.
They have more options than us females.
Yeah. And it depends on what area of field too. What type of job?
That does. But when you look at when you look at the pay rates, it's different. But on top of that, they able to be females are too, day laborers and like just random jobs. So when you look at, I know when we were growing up, when you would see homeless people. And it's like, do you give them money? Like we were like, I don't want to say we were raised that way, but it's like, why this man can't get a job? Because he seems able-bodied, not necessarily like, because some ones that are kind of lost up there. That's the difference. Right. But if you able-bodied, they have a full-blown conversation with me about whatever it is you're talking to me about. It's like, why don't you have a job?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, just piggyback on what both of y'all are talking about. I mean, that's the thing is that double standard of men are expected to have and do and be. And be able to accomplish things, and if you can't, then you're looked at as less than, right? Like you said, Dame, having him being at home, he's looked at as lazy, or why is he still at home, and that kind of thing. Versus if it was a female, like Taylor was saying, somebody might just make the assumption, oh, maybe she's waiting to get married, or maybe she's waiting to get a degree. Maybe she's in school. Maybe she's home taking care of family, that kind of thing. They're not looked at as less than. They're not looked at as you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Nobody ever says that about, or at least not in general. They don't say that. You've been
on welfare for as long as I've been alive. If your mother was on welfare and you are 37 years old currently, and you've been on welfare back when I was on welfare, back when my daughter was like 3 or 4, and you still on welfare, you a lazy ass. I don't get it, because they send you to too many programs to not get a job. They send you to school and pay for the shit, and you just still want to be unproductive. You're an unproductive citizen, and I don't respect you.
Right.
And even that, it's just like, even that, like, look at it like this. And this is what my problem is with a lot of people. There are jobs out there. It might not be jobs you might not want, but somebody's always hiring. Who's hiring? Everybody. Amazon, McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A. Like, it's just places hiring. Walmart hire greeters all the time. Right. You ain't gotta have no spare. Just hi, bitch. All right, go on about your business.
Can we talk about how I want to talk about how the eras have changed.
Yeah.
So a lot of the issues women have now. Well, I should say a lot of issues that women had back then. They still have them now, but it's a whole lot more. Like, women have a whole lot more power now.
Oh, to a lesser degree. You said basically they have the power. The problems they had back then, they have now at a lesser degree.
Because a lot of jobs you go to now, you feel me? You'll notice women are running them. Women are the boss.
Go to my HR.
You feel me? So
my boss is a woman.
Yeah, so it's like that wasn't.
All 3 of my bosses are women.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
I got men boss in there. I got a lot of women in there.
So
I'm the 3rd man on the totem pole. 3 on top of me.
So that's different than what it was, you say, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, how those women communicate. You know what I mean? Is it a generational gap? And how?
So I mean, I mean, it's hard for us to speak for women, but from what I can see outside looking in, I think some of those women do recognize the benefits of today's time over what they dealt with in the past. One of my managers is, I believe, in her like in her later years. I'm gonna speak on that woman's age, but she's a little older than middle age, and so I could make the assumption that she probably faced some challenges coming up, trying to either enter the job market or enter our industry, mainly because, and being in IT, which even now, I mean, you hear the news where bigger companies like Google, Amazon, things like that have been accused of misogyny and accused of gender gaps in terms of pay, and gender gaps in terms of appointments to higher positions. And a lot of them are facing those challenges, like you said, Smooth, every day, because there's still these ideals and these ideologies, these old boys clubs, these whatever the case may be. So they're still trying to jump these hurdles to get to what they what they feel like they deserve, which they do rightfully deserve, in terms of having an equal footing, in terms of being able to get the same types of jobs, the same types of pay. But I do remember about 10 or 15 years ago, where I worked at this company, and I had access to see the financials, and it was the stark comparison in terms of the pay and then the number of positions being offered to women was sickening. How drastic, in terms of there was way more men in positions of power, but on purpose, when you could see some of the women in those same departments, doing or excelling in those roles, even though the men were just kind of stagnated, or that they weren't really the men weren't really the idea makers or the idea havers. They were really feeding on the ideas of other people in their departments or in their organizations. But then the women that did achieve higher positions, their pay gap was so great. I mean, I literally saw this one executive where her pay was almost half of someone in the same position in the level of the company. And I was in utter shock because I know the type of, not employee, but executive that she was. I knew the type of relationship she had with her organization. I knew the type of ideas and the way she drove sales, the way she drove profits, the way she kept everything in check. But to see that disparagement, if you guys look at the bottom of the screen, it's scrolling down at the bottom. Misogyny, misandry. We're talking about misogyny. We're talking about misandry. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll always see the topic. And then what we're talking about is the fact that all of these disparities, it's a known thing. It's something that But I mean, this was 10 or 15 years ago, but we see they're still fighting for that now, right? And it's like, why or what is still going wrong that's still a problem, or that still doesn't come across as an issue. You know what I mean?
It's funny too, because when I look at my workplace, because I work, and most of I've been at my job for almost 2007. Now it's 21, whatever years that is, right? So.
Come on, don't do that. Don't do that to Trenton Public Schools.
Oh no, but it's a lot of women.
DPS for life. Sorry,
it's a lot of women that are high power at my job. You see them all different races, ages, and stuff like that. And I remember when my AC came to our job, and she had one-on-ones with us, and she was just trying to figure out who we were. Like, hey, you work so-and-so, what do you do? How'd you get this job? What made you come to this type of job? And blah, blah, blah. And just having a conversation with the people that were in the room, it's like you got a sense of, and this is for women, I feel like, and this is for me going from welfare to work. It's a lot of women that I saw in these programs that didn't have the drive, lacked the drive to want to start from scratch. Me, I never worked in an office building a day in my life. Mm-hmm. I've worked with kids for the better part of all my job, with exception of working at a few department stores. And I got to a point where I was either going to be working or not work. I was out of work for 3 years. It killed me. I've been working since the 7th grade. So now for 3 years straight, I can't work and I have a kid. It was weird for me. So I was on the system for that period of time. I used that system to work for me. They paid for me to go to school. I learned Microsoft Office through a free program that didn't come out of my pockets. Some of these systems are set up for women to fail, especially with women with kids. And I feel like depending on the type of female you are, you bound to fail because you got that mindset of, this is easy. Why I don't have to work, and this is easy money I'm going to get. If I keep having kids, I'm going to keep getting this money, or I may get assistance. So with housing, so I don't have to do too much. Well, they didn't give me anything. They barely helped me with whatever, but they sent me to school.
Sonny, let me ask you something. I wanted to ask Sonny something real quick. Get her perspective. What do you think about? Because I know you watch Law and Order SVU.
Yes.
That last episode was perfect for this topic right here.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But
I had to think back to what it was.
Yeah, but before I get into it, I wanted to ask you, because the prosecutor who ended up becoming the defense attorney
became the
defense attorney, but her role was like, she was one of those women who fostered that environment. Remember when we was talking about rape culture, and I was like, rape culture never go nowhere because it's still some women involved in it who still facilitate.
No, did you miss her statement at the very end?
That's my point.
Okay, go ahead.
At the end, and we'll fill if none of y'all watch it, we'll fill y'all in a second. At the end, she was like, you just gotta lay down, take it, and pretend like you enjoy it. You feel me? But she wasn't. It was a metaphor. You feel me? She wasn't just talking about sex. She was just talking about the whole system.
Yeah,
In order to get
basically,
ahead, you'll never get ahead. So in order to get ahead, you just got to sometimes accept it, go along and get along. And if you don't go along and get along, you're just going to fall by the wayside. That was her perspective.
mhm.
Now, so my question to you, Sonny, is what are your thoughts about women who think like that? And have you encountered women who think like that?
Unfortunately, I have, especially with that type of situation, they have that mindset of it didn't happen, and what did you do to provoke situations like this? So I feel like for those type of women that accept that type of thing and accept that idea, the idealism is weird to me, because as a woman, where's your sense of womanness? Because you're accepting it, and that's part of the problem. The same way it's like for the black people that were a part of what black people were going through. You're part of the problem. You're not helping us. You're like, oh well, let's get along to get along. No, this is the problem. So to say that, but and maybe I took a different meaning from what she said and why she said it from you when what you took, but I just felt like I didn't like it, and I was against what she said, and I feel like for those type of women that think that way, it's problematic. But I
You
think
know what?
my takeaway from that little blurb was different than yours.
You know what? I give a lot of credit to strong in women like that, and you, Sonny, because my wife, when we got together, I think we just had our first kid. I lost my job. They told her that it'd be better if I moved out the house, excuse me, try to get more child support from me if I didn't live in the house, so she can get public assistance and all this extra money. I'm not sure why the government is so bent on breaking up families and homes just to try to get an extra buck.
That's how they make their money.
I mean, right. But if I'm not working, how is that helping the economy?
And then on top of that, look at it like this: from the child support system, a lot of guys, this is a misconception. A lot of guys feel like women on the system get all their money. You don't understand that's not that they don't. If they're on the system, they're only getting $50 of what you give child support. They're not getting anything else but $50.
Because of fees. Right, because the fees.
Those are fees because they're helping your child stay where they staying. They give you money for food, and they're helping with the cost of the housing. So they're only giving her $50. So you think that she's squandering it. It's not necessarily her. The state's taking that because they're taking care of your child. Right, and had you been present in assisting her, she wouldn't need them. And that's the problem now, because as women, if you need help, you really can't get help if you're getting child support or whatever, like regular, like if I was on, like right now I get child support, I'm not on the system. But if I needed help.
We got to be clear though, different states.
Like yeah, different states are different things. But for Jersey, you only get $50. I don't know about Detroit, but it's just basically synopsis that they don't get all the money because the system is helping them. So whatever money you are giving them, they're not receiving that whole amount.
Right. Friends of the family here suck.
Yeah, it's called friend of the court here. They get a percentage of the money taken in the process.
In Jersey, they only get they only get $50 flat.
Oh no, it's more than that. Or it's more.
And if they get locked up, it's $100 of the. And if they get locked up for any violation, they only get $100 of what whatever pays or whatever was the bail amount.
Yeah, but the biggest thing though is that I think that a lot of going back to the question in terms of women who foster or accept those ideologies, I think a lot of that comes from you gotta get along to get along, right? You gotta roll with the system or roll with the punches in order to get ahead. I think it's that defeatist part of it's defeatist attitude of like, you know what, we can't change it, so why try? That kind of thing.
That's the same thing of the black household. When if something happens, what goes in the house stays in this house.
Right.
Part of the problem.
But I think too, it's maybe also a lack of seeing any change, right? Let's say if you only just got into the workforce 10 years ago, a lot hasn't probably changed in the last 10 years when it comes to pay disparities, when it comes to opportunities, that kind of thing. Or, maybe there's an educational issue that you see in your community where, certain people are getting better than others. So, you know, seeing that, not to say that this is an excuse for those women or those people who buy into these kind of things, but it may be that's the problem is that they're seeing
They may be
these
programmed
things
to believe
happen
that.
and they don't see a way out of it. And they're feeling like, well, if I roll with the program and do what I need to do to get around it, then I'll do what I got to do to get around it. A lot of people.
Let me ask you this, Willie.
That's what the girl did
Let
in
me
the
ask you this,
episode.
Willie.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Smooth.
Is that acceptable? Is that an acceptable excuse?
No.
Like I just said, I don't
Misinformation.
think it's an acceptable excuse because I think we all have to do our part, right? We all have to do our part to try to bring awareness, right? Say, hey, there's a problem here. We got a problem here, especially when you do have some power, you know, especially in that situation, which is the scary part. Because I think a lot of times things don't change because others are not just allowing it, but they're getting the support or they're not getting, you know, called out on it, right? You know,
I would say lack of information too.
No, I don't think lack of
No,
information. Everybody
no,
know.
no, because if somebody, some people.
what he's saying in turn, but the thing is, I think a lot of times it's that mentality that so just a quick example, and hope this doesn't trigger anything for anybody, but trigger warning. So there was this young girl who was in a band some 20, 30 years ago. She was underage, had a manager who was, you know, controlling the band, whatnot. Long story short, they had a party and the young girl was given drugs and the manager raped her. Not only did he rape her in front of somewhere around 10 to 15 people in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue was this: the young girl, one being on drugs, she was like not unconscious, but you know how they talk about being so out of it that they can't really move and that kind of thing. She said she made eye contact with other people. She's like, I can see them looking at me, and she can hear murmuring. She can hear people saying things. Certain people walked out of the room in disgust, but didn't stop it. Right?
Exactly.
You had some people that said something, but no one moved. No one
did
else
anything.
moved. So if
Nobody came to her aid.
if
Yeah.
he's seen 12 out of the 15 people not going anywhere, not saying anything, he feels supported. He continues to do it, right? You know what I mean? He feels like, oh, it must not be anything wrong with what I'm doing at this point. You know, it's the same issue with you are a part of the system now. You've got around, done what you had to do to get into power, but then now you don't call power out on it. Like, hey, you know what? I may have made it, but do you realize how many hurdles I jumped to make it? Do you realize how hard I had to work to get here? You know, if you're not calling it out, they don't think anything's wrong. You know, I had a boss one time that told me that
Or they know it's wrong, but they feel it's acceptable because ain't nobody stopping.
Right. They were telling me that I was doing such a great job and everything, you know, and I was getting a lot of notice. But my thing was I was only getting a lot of notice because I was working twice as hard as everybody else, you know, trying to get around the racial disparities that were in that company. So, you know, and I told her, I called her out, I called them out on it. I say, look, you know, most of this is because y'all don't look at black people the same. Y'all feel like we're not really doing our part until we're doing twice as much as y'all. You know, so if we're not calling, once you get into that position, I mean, you can call it out early, you know, you can try your best, but when you're in that position and you get your seat at the table and you're still not telling them what's wrong, that's when there's a problem. That's when it's, like you said, Smooth, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
So what it was I'm gonna give you a quick breakdown of how it applies, how the episode showed sexism and misogyny at work perfectly. Okay, the judge of this case, first the prosecutor, the lady we was talking about, she was defending the rapist in the beginning, got him off, but she felt some type of way because she knew the judge helped her get him off. You know what I mean? But see, now the judge, everybody knew he was like a womanizer, and he, you know, he had sexist views of women. But where his misogyny came into power is what he did to the other black lawyer that was she was like a junior partner in a firm.
Well, he did quite a few of them, but yeah.
Yeah, but to her specifically, he didn't just use his power to get sex with her. You know what I mean? He used his power because she was like his clerk or whatever. So what he told her, if you want to get any further, you want any recommendations from me, well, then you know what you have to do. That's misogyny. You feel me? That ain't sexism. That's misogyny. That's rape. And what else? It was so deep that he got her.
A partner, a junior partner.
Junior partner. He gave her all types of recommendations, everything. Right. You feel me? To the fact that she actually sent him an email thanking him. And then when the cops came to find her and to get her to testify against him, you know what I mean? She was hesitant because she knew if she spoke out, what it can do to her career. Right. You feel me? That's misogyny because he really had power over her. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? She making 6 figures because of him. But those 6 figures was worth her dignity, her even though she eventually testified against him. Right. But that it was a sacrifice in order to get to that.
Well, I mean, that's kind of similar to the whole situation with the performers, right? The actors, actresses, and things like that, when they got caught up in getting assaulted and raped and pressured into doing things by these producers and these.
But they wasn't getting nowhere in their career.
Kind of yeah, and it's because of that power that they have over them. And but then there's people supporting that and allowing that to happen, know. And I think the biggest takeaway I want people to take from this is these things that we see on TV, these things that we see in the news, it's happening to us, and we have to recognize that, and we have to do our part to call it out, call it how we see it, especially when you do have a seat at the table, or you do have a position of power, or you do have that opportunity. I walked away from a job about 20 years ago, and I called them out on a couple of things during my exit interview. I actually got a chance to sit down with the owner of the company, and I called them out on a few things. And one thing that stuck out to me that he told me at that time, and this is what I mean. I literally felt like I felt like a fucking asshole when I was done calling them out on some shit. Because he sat there and he looked at me and he said, Jewish guy too. He was like a little older Jewish guy, and he said, I understand your points. I feel your concerns. He was like, the only question I have for you is, how long did you allow this to happen? And I kind of sat back and was like, what do you mean? How long did I allow it to happen? How long you been allowing it to happen? But I was smart enough to the problem. I was only 20 years old, but I was smart enough already at that time to understood what he meant. Because he's like, even though I had a position, I had a lowly position at the beginning, even though I was important to the company, but I was nobody at the same time, right? I didn't hold an executive level. I wasn't a manager, but the thing is that I was almost best friends with his son. I worked for one of the top managers in the company. I also had at one point worked for the second in command of the company. So I had these interactions. So I would talk to the owner every now and then when I would go see his son. We were good friends. We hung out. We went on trips together. And he, his thing was like, okay, it's been whatever number of years you've been here. You've seen these things, and I appreciate you bringing this to me. But you also held on to this information and never brought it to the forefront, either to me or to HR or to some, like everybody. It's almost a family company. But if nobody knows, or if nobody is being told, hey, this is a problem and this is the problem I'm seeing, how do you fix it?
Yeah.
And that shook me, because I was like, you know what? It makes sense. And he wasn't trying to pass blame to me or anything. He just was trying to make me see the point of, hey, next time, don't sit by.
Don't sit in, yeah.
Stuff, because what I was trying to do when I was walking out the door, I'm trying to help them not do something to the next group of kids or the next group of Black kids that come through that company. But I had already done a disservice to the Black kids that were already there.
Fair.
You know, and we gotta do better in terms of the little things that we think that we're doing, or the lowly positions that we think that we have, when we have these opportunities to say, hey, you know, and I know sometimes it's hard or it's scary to say, okay, you know I need this job, or I need this situation, you know, but a lot of companies have anonymous reporting. A lot of companies have what they call ombudsmen. You know, take advantage of that. Take advantage of that. Do your anonymous reporting if you see something wrong. You see managers cutting up. You know, at the last company I was at, they were quick to demote people. I mean, I've seen so many people get demoted over either racist comments, over misogynistic actions, over just you know, abuse of power. You know, so I've seen it in action, you know, and so it's something that I think people have to be cognizant of, that sometimes you just can't sit back and just allow things to happen or accept it just because it is what it is.
Yeah, I know I had the problem with my boss, and they, like, she was doing stuff so out in the open that when I would react, she would try to go to the head boss, and then other people would be like, no, this is what she did. And it's like, even when it went to the upper management, it didn't go further. And they were like, at one point they sat down and told me to not have conversation with her, or if she tried to have conversation with you one-on-one, bring somebody in there with you.
Right.
Have y'all ever?
It's crazy.
Actually, before you get into your next question, I want to go ahead and do this giveaway. It's already almost quarter till, or actually it's after quarter till. So let's go ahead and do this giveaway. Vanna, if you want to show off what we're giving away today.
It's almost dead. Just hurt my shoulder.
Again.
Yeah, the large sweat. It's a sweatshirt.
All right.
The GFT Radio logo sweatshirt.
A GFT Radio logo sweatshirt is up for grabs today. If you're not aware, you should be on the GFT Radio shows Join the Conversation group. This is how we're giving away this
one's not wrinkled.
The sweatshirt today. Future giveaways may involve other things, other ways to participate. But definitely go over to facebook.com/group/GFT Join the Conversation. That's the address, and join the conversation, and you can be a winner too. So I'm gonna
can I win?
A winner right quick. What's up?
Can I win?
No, host can't win. Co-host or guest host.
Bye.
So anyway. Said bye. I thought he was,
bye, Felicia.
Hold him up. You know, he might be
Give away Willie Styles' computer.
So
next time on GFT Radio.
34 names on the list. That doesn't include Damon's.
And is that people that participate?
Huh?
Those people that participate?
These are all the people that have been participating in the last, I think, couple of weeks or so. So appreciate all of them. They've participated the most. So we've got a lot of people participating. These people have at least posted once, or have at least commented at least 6 to 8 times each on all of the different posts that are out there. So they are putting in work, and so we definitely recognize them and appreciate them. So without further ado, let's pick a winner.
Let's see who we get this time.
Cameron Wright Bobbitt.
Oh, Cam.
Oh,
Cam. You won. Right. I know that one. I invited that one.
All right. So Cameron Wright Bobbitt will be getting a notification from us and getting a shirt, getting a large GFT logo shirt. So, or not shirt,
sweatshirt.
Sweatshirt.
He said sweater.
Very warm, because our sweatshirts are high quality. If you want one, make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/GFT Radio. You can definitely cop some merch. You know how we do. As soon as I can find the banner, make sure y'all get over there, cop some merch, and you can have a GFT logo. You can get your own sweatshirts, t-shirts, masks, all kinds of stuff. So make sure y'all get over there and get one of those, and be on the lookout for future giveaways as well. But yeah, so going back to your question, Smooth.
No, I just wanted to flip it. Have y'all ever encountered misandry in a workplace, or and uh, Sonny, specifically to you, have you ever witnessed a woman use her power, or do you know women who are misandrous?
Do I know anybody?
Well, since they're so quiet, I'll go.
Yeah.
I haven't really witnessed it in the workplace, so to speak. I don't think, and I think that one is a little harder to spot in certain situations, only because, we have women who may get into power, but usually at that point, I don't think it's as blatant to see a woman try to express her power, unless you're maybe keeping count of how many women she hires, right? So I was thinking about it from the standpoint of, I do remember a certain job I had where I had a female manager, and that's another thing. Oh no, I'm not going to get on that topic right now. But I was about to say so. But anyway, I had a manager, and she was very great at her job. I really liked her. She was really helpful. She wasn't a hoverer, that kind of thing. But what I did notice is that there were a lot of other women getting jobs through her, and there was only a couple of us guys. Now, I didn't really see a problem with it, so to speak. You know what I mean? But I could see how it could look from the outside looking in when it comes to, is she showing preference to women, that kind of thing? Is she feeling like women can do the job better, the type of job we were doing at the time? When I was, or when my middle daughter was a little bit younger, I know for a fact that, from a misandry standpoint, I felt like one of her managers definitely didn't, like men, from the things that she told me about. So it was like hearing that was kind of an eye opener for me. Was hearing that certain women will do that, right, and they'll talk about things like that. But I personally haven't experienced it, other than maybe some low key or some hidden misandry.
I have actually.
Okay.
In my job, when I first started with the company I'm with now, I had two different district managers real close by. The guy, he only hired male managers for his district. Was like 14 different stores and retail. He had like probably two women under him taking over his stores. Then on the flip side, the district I was in was run by a woman district manager. She had nothing but women in her district, and maybe like one male. I think she was doing that just to flip the script on them, just out of spite. And I got passed over a couple of promotions because I was in her district, and it was given to another woman multiple times. I mean, it's like I got passed over for a position that I was capable of what I'm doing now, actually, after I came back to the company for the second time. Different district. He's still there. The other woman went on to different pastures, but that goes on a lot in my company. Like, people just play favoritism toward gender.
Oh wow.
I don't think I've ever witnessed that. I mean, for the most part, within my career, I've never really seen a woman be tough on guys or just have a general hatred for guys. I've seen women have issues with other women for no reason and be hostile towards another female versus being hostile with a man in a workplace. And I worked in many different workplaces, and I have yet to have experienced that. Or even vice versa, a man being like, a woman can't do this type of situation. So I haven't experienced them either way.
I actually have. Yeah, I actually have. I was a supervisor at this company, and how our depot worked was, we had the district managers work there too. So, even though I'm supervising everything, district manager's still there. like 2 district managers, a district manager, assistant district manager.
Mm-hmm.
So the lady come in, she become the district manager, and she takes over for a man. You feel me? And automatically, it was like her attitude towards all the men that worked there
Thank
was just negative. Was just negative. You feel me? And she always, when somebody disagreed with her, her defense was, "You're only disagreeing with me because I'm a woman." You feel me? If I was a man, you wouldn't disagree with me. And it was like most people like right is right, wrong is wrong. It was other women who would point it out. You know what I mean? So when you know other women that work in a company and they noticing like, yo, she don't like men, she hate men. You feel me? Or some man just did her wrong and she just taking it out on y'all.
everybody.
You know what I mean? To me, that was a form of her using her power because she made the you know, she made work not fun. You know what I mean? She made people leave the job. You feel me? Because of her attitude towards men and how she treated us. You feel me? To me, that was a form of misandry. You know what I mean? Do she still? I don't know. You know what I mean? But I know at that particular time, like she was vicious. She was vicious,
Wow.
and other women would notice it. Other women would notice it. So, you know what I mean? But for the most part, like you said, if I did encounter a woman, because I had a couple female superiors as well at jobs, women superiors. I don't know. I can't recall too many of them being, you know what I mean? A couple of them always promoted. You feel me? Always got promoted. So like I never really had that issue. But that one lady, yeah, I almost want to say her name.
No, listen.
I always want to say her name, but
Listen, I know, like I said, my boss, she was a female going after me every chance she could get, and I think it was a mixture of just it for me. I think it was more of a race situation because she was always like the stuff she would say to me. She'd be like, "Make sure you dress work appropriate." Like, "Oh, you look like," even her compliments was like backhanded like things, and I'm sitting there like she like make sure you dress work appropriate. Meanwhile, Friday is jeans day. You got other coworkers wearing jeans all day that you cool with, but you calling me out in front of everybody as if I don't dress properly for work.
now
And like,
here's the ironic thing. The more that I think about it, right, the guy she was placed, you know what I mean? He was a stone cold sexist as well. He wasn't. He wasn't misogynistic though. But he was sexist and to the point to where, you know, because it was another supervisor she was cool. I said her name Heather. That was fine. Me and her worked together. You feel me? So, you know, his form of sexism was he felt like certain jobs were meant for her. You feel me? And she kind of just went along with it. Now, I mean, she ain't really have a problem with it because they weren't like difficult. But he felt like, you know, she the woman, let her do that particular part of the supervisory job. You handle people attitudes and smooth thing. That's how he would now I mean he would show his sexism. Now I mean
well, I have a
when I
question.
really think about it.
I have a question because we had this training at work. I never forget it. And this is why we have women that are complacent that have a problem. So we were at work giving a training to our upper management and our manager and supervisor on how they should handle stuff leave related. So they're asking questions about people come late. How many times are they late? Should we write them up? Like, what should we be doing? We got people doing X, Y, Z, and blah, blah, blah. So this head person of this head area said something. He asked me that, and I said, well, what you should do is give me a call. Let me know the situation so that way we could document the behavior. Blah blah blah. And so he was like, well, I wasn't told. Well, that's not what I was told by HR. And I said, so we're HR, and this is why we're training you. So if that happens, this is what needs. This is the protocol to get them with like
You
a
get a
tenants
paper
and
trail.
leave issue. And this is what happens. We document it, and then it comes a disciplinary problem. And this is how we stop that behavior. So Do you know what this man said to me? He said that somebody in HR told me. I said, well, who said it in HR? Because we're gonna make sure they did give them the right information. He said, it's above your pay grade, sweetie. And when he talks to me, like when he asks me a question, mind you, this is my job. Every day I do this. Been doing this for years. He asks me a question, I'll answer him. You know what? I'm gonna talk to somebody else that probably sounds like they know what they're doing. Mind you, I've already told you what you need to do. But because not only am I a female, but I'm a black female, so everybody knows he's like a racist, and he have issues with women in authority, or that tell him what he should be doing. So this was news to me, and I'm like, why is he always hostile on the phone with me? Now I had the pleasure of meeting this man, and he tells me it's above your pay grade, sweetie. Excuse me, what? Excuse me. Aren't I training you? Excuse me. This is what we're doing. And so he's like, so then another manager asked me the question because he was nicer, and he was like, so this is what we should do? And I said, yeah. And I said, but if you want them to continue the behavior that they're doing, do what this one's doing. Don't say anything. Because obviously he has a bunch of problem people that are on higher status than his regular employees. He's allowing the behavior. I've just told him what to do, but it's above my pay grade. So, just be great. So how would you categorize that?
Hateful, spiteful.
Because he, like, when you had to hear this man talk to me, and then the fact that my boss was sitting right there as a female, and she just sat there and looked at me, and she didn't even interject.
I would consider that misogynistic as well.
I was like, so you're not gonna say nothing, lady?
One of the examples that let me see if y'all agree with this, that from the article I showed y'all earlier, she used what she said. If a girl gets raped and a man says, well, what did she wear? How was she dressed? You feel me? That's misogynistic or something like that.
I gotta hold that.
That doesn't matter.
Female. So I got
but one thing about misogyny is, like we was talking about earlier, that other women foster those misogynistic views because that's how they was trained to think. But I forget how she put it. But she was basically just saying, hold on. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Go ahead, talk.
Yeah.
No pressure.
What would you consider that then?
What?
Now I'm asking Willie, what would he consider? Why you looking it up? Would you consider misogyny too?
Oh yeah. No, I would consider it misogyny. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, anytime. I mean, I think anytime someone makes comments or does things that, I mean, I guess going back to what Smooth was saying earlier about the differences between sexism and misogyny, maybe we could flip it and say sexism, right? But misogyny being that power focus, I think a lot of times we still have to recognize that the power, right?
Yeah, I want to know how he married. His wife's so nice. I'm like, oh my God, how did you marry this man? I have questions.
Yeah,
I love you. What is wrong with him?
But I guess too, the big thing too is how much power are we giving certain people without realizing that they don't really have that power,
Exactly.
Well, that was the problem because he's known, even still working at our job. Everybody, when I had that conversation with people, like, oh, well, he said this. Oh, well, that's not even worse what he said to people. How does he still have a job?
Right.
Like, I have a question with that because it's a lot of women at my job in authority, higher authority than him. So if you can talk to somebody like that and they're training you to prevent problems with your employees, imagine if, like,
you work under them,
like you working under a bunch of females,
right?
All races, colors, and creeds.
Well, before we get too late into it, and Smooth will definitely come back once you find.
Yeah.
The other question that came up was, is misandry a myth? So the reason this popped up was because I was reading a couple of different articles and I was getting my head around what's happening in out there in the world. And one article that popped up, I found this website called Ravishly. and I don't know if it's specifically centered around women's issues, but I believe it is. So the article itself, called out a few different things, and so at first when I was reading it, I was a little shocked. Was that the woman said, she says, first thing she says is that she stumbled upon the term misandry, a contempt for men, offered as a societal counterpoint to misogyny. And she says it's become so obnoxiously ubiquitous that she's surprised that Time didn't include it included in their dubious list of words to ban in 2014. So, and then she went on to kind of like bash the men who used it, saying that Twitter is chock full of dudes popping out of their sad little manholes crying oppression anytime someone breathes the words male privilege. And then she talked about Reddit. She says that she says you may have even encountered it personally because you've been called out for villainous man-hating ways. So it was like she was talking towards what misandry means, right? But then she brought up the point, and this is what kind of like gave me the aha moment. Like, okay, I guess that is a question. Is misandry a myth? Because it also goes back to, is reverse racism a myth? Right? We talk about that a lot of times. And she says this. She says, where is it at? Sorry, I should have highlighted it. So here we go. So she says, yes, there are individual people. Here we go, right here. Let me highlight it so everybody can read it. There are individual people out there who genuinely do dislike, or at very least distrust dudes, and generally with good reason. However, unlike misogyny, misandry doesn't operate as a social force that subjugates, dehumanizes, and marginalizes men. Men do not face oppression because they are men. And like she says, that's not to say that men never face oppression. Far from it. They can be marginalized by one of or a combination of intersecting forces like racism, homophobia, ableism, classism, and even misogyny, but they are not oppressed because of their gender. So, looking at that from the standpoint of the power that we talked about with misogyny, do you now believe, or can you now agree with her point that misandry, is a myth?
No. No, it depends on what culture we're talking about. You understand? Because that's why I said earlier, it's everywhere men don't dominate. We say that's a man's world, but that's an our limited world here in America. You feel me? In other places, women have been leaders of nations for, centuries. You feel me? Like that's nothing new. You feel me? That's just new here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just new here in our concept of how we view things. So if she's just talking about specifically American society, okay, cool. I guess there's some validity to it. But I can see where she's coming from. Like, man, this is a patriarchal society. So it'd be no different from us telling them reverse racism isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like, we can hate them. Black people can hate white people, but for the most part, black people don't got no power to subjugate them. Right. You know what I mean? So from that standpoint, I understand where she's coming from. You know what I mean? They can hate us. You feel me? You may certain women may have some certain power to do something, but as a whole, like, women still have a long way to go to catch up to where men are at in this society, because this is a patriarchal society. This is a male dominant society here.
Right.
So I get it.
No doubt.
I'm on the fence.
Or you say you're on the fence?
I'm on the fence. Because even to Clint's point, it depends on where you're talking about. But even when you think about women dominated things, I immediately go to the Queen of England, right? Mm-hmm. She, at the end of the day, she's the only queen because she married a king. and he died. So it was predominantly so like you're only, and then even with being a queen,
I get what you're saying.
but then even but and by default, like you're the child of such and such and this and third, but by default is should the ideal is for a man, because they're not following these strict things of how of a female, like females were even as queen, she has to be a certain way. Her behavior and how she does things is dictated by what the patriarchal how it started.
Yeah.
So it's not that she can create some laws, like she has some freedoms, but it's to an extent. So even in that area, like, but then again, you look, I mean, depending on, like Clint said, it depends on where you are.
Yeah.
But
A lot of
realistically
places in
speaking,
Africa
yeah.
are matriarchal societies.
Yeah, but like I said, it depends on where you're at. But I think if you look at the world as a whole, I would say it would be considered slightly like it could be considered a myth, because not just accounting the United States of America, and if you go around the country, some are, but if you had to do a weighing of more, it's more male dominant than it is female dominant. Like we can hate you guys, not that I hate you, but like we can have a strong feeling against you, but ain't too much we can do.
What you think, Dane?
I'm with Sonny. I'm on the fence a little bit too, because I think the roles of leadership for women to have power, far as job marketplace, retail is one of the biggest places where women excel at, because a lot of men don't think they can cut it, or they don't want to do it. They think it's not manly enough, if you want to say.
That's sex
Um,
sells.
yeah. So, um,
Did you lose your
yeah,
phone?
yeah. Thanks, Sonny.
That's,
No,
that's all
no.
right.
I just want to blame Sonny. No, but it's just like it's just yeah. Come back to me next week.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
No,
I,
no, it's not you.
It
It wasn't you,
happens to the
Sonny.
best of us. It happens to the best of us.
No, it wasn't you, Sonny.
No, I kind of feel the same way as Sonny and Dame, in terms of, like, I see women not having the overall authority of power in a grand scheme of things. Yes, they have power in certain areas, power in certain industries, power in certain jobs, but in the grand scheme of things, I mean, from the Bible to the Constitution, to the charters of certain other countries, to the powers that be, a lot of times it's all male dominated, or it's all patriarchal, dominated. There's certain, like Smooth, like you said, there are tribes in Africa, there are countries in Europe, there are societies that recognize the power of women and the importance of women, but they're at a minority when it comes to how many are not that way, right? So I think when it comes to it, or even if you think about this, there's certain there's still a huge gender gap in Europe, where in England, where, like you said, there's a queen, the prime minister was a female, you know what I mean, and that they have a large group of parliamentary, I don't know what they call, senators or whatever they call, parliament members that are women, but they still have issues with gender, gender issues. They still have pay gap issues. They still have misogynistic issues with, women getting mistreated because of their sex.
Yeah, even in some of the Europe countries, women aren't allowed to drive. Women aren't able to do, like, you look at the different religions in certain ways, they're not allowed to do what we get to do. So to them, they may feel like we have more power than them because we're allowed to drive, we're allowed to go to school. They are just now being able to drive cars on their own and be in school, be in public without a male. Like, it's a lot of things that not necessarily, like, it depends on where you go. They're still in that new age ideal. You're supposed to be home with the kids and that's it. you can't do anything outside of like, you know, being with your husband. You know, you can't really walk the streets alone. It's a lot of difference.
But this is my point though. This is gonna be my point. But is it a myth? I would say no.
No.
So because this is what I think though, from a standpoint of the fact that you have sexism versus misogyny, right? And we talked about the fact that misogyny has this connotation that you have to have power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Thing is that you can be sexist, right, without power, but if your sexism is strictly geared or strictly focused in on men from and you could be a man or a woman being a misandrist, right? Being strictly focused on the degradation and the destruction of men, then that I think you should still have a term for that, and that term it would be misandry. We're not saying that men or that women or that anyone who's misandrous is going to have some kind of power, but if you're making use of your voice, making use of your platform in order to tear down men or to tear down male society or male society, male status in society, then that would make you misandrous, because you're taking that stance. Being sexist, the thing about being sexist is this: I can be sexist, but I can feel like men aren't good at being chefs. Women aren't good at driving. Men aren't good at taking care of babies. Women aren't good. You flip-flop. You can flip-flop. If you're a sexist, you can flip-flop. You can take a stance on one thing or the other because the definition allows you to do that, right? But if your only focus is on one particular gender, then that makes you that thing that makes that points at that one particular gender, and that word is misandry.
Facts.
So misandry from a power struggle perspective, no, it's not a power struggle. It's not a powerful stance. You can't but misandrist is not going to be able to stop you from becoming the man you're going to be. But if it's going to prevent you from having the comfort or the ability to show yourself as a person, then misandry it is.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I can do that. I actually found that article that I wanted to share.
Okay, let me stop my share. How do you
Y'all all share. I do this during my little meetings. I'm not sharing.
women always taking over.
All right. Y'all see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
can you zoom in a little bit?
Hold on.
Look at Clint using stuff, making stuff bigger. Hercules.
I actually know how to do this stuff quite well. I just don't like doing it. All right.
I'll be in the meetings. Share my stuff.
Okay. This is what actually I want to show her name. Naomi Wolf. She was talking about Julia Gillard. So I just wanted to highlight this part where she said misogyny has the amygdala involved, the part of the brain involved in processing emotional responses. There is contempt and violence in it. A public figure who tolerates the systemic under-prosecuting of rape is guilty of serious and unforgivable sexism. Making rape jokes or explaining away the damage of rape in public, as Congressman Todd Akin did recently in the U.S., or legislating, as over a dozen U.S. states are now doing, transvaginal probes that are medically unnecessary simply to sexually punish women for choosing abortion, well, that is misogyny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess I would I could understand what a lot of them mean. Like misogyny is that like has a hateful violence undertone to it. I guess that's the point she was trying to make.
Right.
As well.
Yeah, because I mean, like the article, I end up closing it too. She even pointed that out, was that in a misogynistic situation, a woman can lose her life. She could be raped, she could be killed, she could be, where in misandry, only thing a man is going to get hurt by is his feelings. So
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Oh, so I was going to bring up a question that I saw.
What? I know you want to talk about Derek Jackson. I know we had that conversation.
Right. Yeah, because actually, that's when I started to think about it. I was like, basically, Derek Jackson is a misandrist as a man.
Yeah, that nigga a simp. That's what he is.
Now that's misogynistic over there, Smooth.
No, ain't no
misogynistic.
He is straight simp. He is straight. You heard they banned the word simp from off of Twitch?
What?
Yeah, you can't use the word simp on Twitch.
On Twitch?
Wow. Wow. We just our channel's just about to get shut down because you just said
no, man,
mute that whole section.
But he is though. He is
violating our terms and conditions.
My thing with him is, and it's been the same thing with him for years, is like you can empower women, give women game without putting down men. You understand? That's his thing. You feel me? That's why I like kind of like Kevin Samuels.
What about Trent? Was it Trent Sheldon? What about him?
I'm not sure who he is.
Is his name Trent Sheldon? He be just talking about but he don't really bash man. He just talk about like the signs to be better you. Like don't do this. Don't he don't like Derek Jackson is different.
Yeah,
but
like I don't mind
some of the
giving
information he do give out is actually okay.
But that's how it go. That's how you do it. You know what I mean? Of course he's gonna tell you, he's gonna give you some truth. He gotta give you some truth to reel you in. But a lot of it, you know what I mean? 85% of what he's talking about,
he said about
that's just him simple. You feel me? That's just him. You feel me? He just trying to get in.
Wrong, but
he just trying to get in good with the ladies because women, and this may sound sexist. Yeah, like this may sound sexist, but this is a fact. You look at the numbers, women support things more than what men do. You feel me? So if he get to support a woman, he'd already know he gonna have him a loyal fan base. You know what I mean? Women are more loyal as a fan base than men are. Mm-hmm. That's just how it is. So, you know what I mean? I get his game, but it's simp game.
Simple.
Yeah, I mean, I like you said, I definitely feel like he takes that stance in order to kind of play up, his sympathy to women, his ability to understand women, but then he takes it too far when he, bashes men or he degrades the male standpoint or the male situation without considering the male situation. Is that better, Sonny? And I think that there's definitely other ways of doing it, and it definitely doesn't help. It doesn't help make progress between sex relations between men and women. You know what I mean? Where because it's one thing to help somebody, give somebody advice and help them through their issues. It's another thing to do that while you're tearing somebody else down about it, right? Exactly. Because it doesn't create this connection. It just creates more of a divide. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And especially it allows these myths or these complaints to continue to be brought up. In particular. So the question I posted 2 questions to the group last week, and it was funny because I didn't expect somebody to call it out that early. Aisha apparently was on it. Like,
of course she was.
Within 2 seconds, she was like, "What are we talking about here?" So it was.
What was the question again?
It was the questions about men or not men. If a man has money, does that make him dateable, regardless of the fact of how he looks or how he dresses? And then the other question was, if a woman has a nice body, does that overcome her beauty or her vibe or her attitude? Does that?
Oh yeah, I remember
have a nice body. These are things.
I had a full-on argument with people with that. Y'all see my?
That was funny.
That thing went crazy.
You know what? I've been catching like some of the conversations like super late, And I jump on, I got go right to the comment section, like, oh, what they talk? Oh, okay, let me just add my 2 cents. And that's
Right.
like I caught the one guy's about don't women about cheating or whatever. Or do y'all feel bad or y'all get something like that? And he was like, the first thing he put the disclaimer up, I thought it was hilarious. He was like, don't go to don't say
no.
men ain't. And I said, and I answered his question, but then I was right on it, like, so why y'all do it? Because that's like, and I understood his disclaimer, so I abide by his little rules. But at the same time, it wasn't even say, well, I'm cheating because you cheating. It's like, why do y'all cheat? Because y'all have what y'all want. Why y'all still doing this unproductive shit?
Right, but I think the great thing about our group so far, especially while it's small right now, is that the mindset is a little bit more mature to the point where people are having these conversations without the continuance of the stereotype, without continuing that stereotype. Right? They see it and then they walk it back. Right? They say, okay, you know what? Yeah, that's a stereotype, but that's a problem. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something better than that, right? And that's one thing I like about it. And that's the reason I was posing it, because I wanted to use as an example here to say, the difference between having somebody like a Derek Jackson or on the flip side, something like a what's his name? Oh dang, I had his name in the tip of my tongue, man. I can't remember. It's the comedian guy that likes to down women. Corey Holcomb. No, not Corey Holcomb. No.
Patrice O'Neal. Yeah, Corey do that.
Okay. Yeah. So
Patrice O'Neal.
There's a couple of them out there.
Yeah, Patrice.
So, but the thing is that instead of keep pushing these stereotypes to into the ground, basically, and trying to create this divide, having these conversations and being able to watch people walk the stereotype back and say, you know what? Yeah, this is something that people think, but this is not us. This is not me, or this is not the vast majority of us. Take the generalizations out of certain things. When we have those kind of conversations, it shows that we can have these conversations and we can talk about these things, but without, like you said, Sonny, we can do it without tearing each other down. We can do it without having an issue where people feel like they have to attack each other. It doesn't have to go.
We shut that shit down.
Experiment worked because every conversation that was had, with the exception of the one that Clint had, but no, even that one went smoothly. You know what I mean? It had its ups and downs, but it
was a heated debate.
But the points had to be made, and the points had to be made in a forum where people could feel like, hey, I get where you're coming from, but this is what I've experienced. That's what the young lady in the comments was doing. She was saying, hey, I get what you're saying, but this is my experience and this is what I've gone through. This is the hurt I'm going through because of this. And then Smooth can come back and say, you know what, I get you, but there's other men who will treat you better. There's other situations that will do you right. There's other things that you can do to get away from that. You don't have to fall up under that hurt and fall up under that pain and then live in it. You don't have to do that. And a lot of times is that when you have people that decide that they're going to create this divide, they push that hurt, they push that pain, and they make you live on it. They say, hey, you got to live on this because this is how men are, or you got to live on this because this is how women are, and I think we have to get away from that. We have to be able to say, you know what, this is not what's needed. What's needed is conversations that make progress towards healing.
Some people don't know how to do that, though. Some people just have to live in that hurt and pain to
Some people
survive.
like being victimized or staying the victim.
Some people say they don't know how to get past the hurt and pain. They don't know how to grow past the experience.
My issue, not my issue. My thing is when it comes to communication and furthering the conversations, no matter what the conversation is, we have to understand that we're not always going to agree. And just because I don't agree with, like me and Willie could be having a conversation and be on two different polar opposite sides of the argument. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean it has to be contentious. You feel me? That doesn't mean he doesn't understand my point. I hate when people say that. You don't understand what I'm saying, or you're not validating what I'm saying. It's like, no, I hear you, I'm not stupid.
I just not agree with you.
I just don't agree with you.
Mhm.
And that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? It'd be foolish to think everybody's going to agree with me. You know what I mean? And it's also being foolish to think the majority of the people who don't agree with me don't understand what I'm saying. That's almost kind of disrespectful. That's insulting to you. So if me and Dame on the opposite eye, I'm like, man, you just don't understand what I'm saying. That's kind of dismissive.
Yeah.
You feel me? That's very dismissive. Like,
A
nah,
lot
he
of people are
understands.
very dismissive.
Yeah, it's like, no, I understand fully what you're saying. I don't agree.
Mhm.
You feel me? And me not agreeing with you or you not agreeing with me isn't coming from a hateful place or a mean spirited place. It's just like, okay, you got your perspective. Well, this is how I see it.
Yeah,
You
that's why
feel
I
me?
posted a
That's what it
status.
is.
That's why
And
I
some
posted
people
a
don't.
status like or a question back in the group early on, and I said, I asked, what do people misconstrue about you that you like, or have this opinion of you that's not as false? And I said, like a lot of people think I'm dumb because they go on Facebook and see me joking, laughing, doing TikToks, and just having fun. So when you have a real conversation, like how we talk when we talk about the political stuff, or basketball is my favorite. When people always say, "Well, who told you that?" Oh, you only saying because you just started watching basketball this week. No, I mean, if you know me, I watched basketball a long time ago. Me and basketball broke up. Like I said, this man on my team. But for you to tell me that I don't know anything past X, Y, Z, it's like no. We can have a conversation because I was a JC Kidd fan when he was the Nets, so we can go that far back. But because I'm talking to you now I'm dumb, or I just don't like LeBron. Like now we can't have a real conversation because somebody told me, or political conversation. Oh, who told you that? Somebody told you that? No. So I can't absolutely have my own opinion. There's no way I can do that. I have to be dumb, or someone had wrote me a script to have the conversation with you. Like, mind you, I'm just here by myself. I'll probably on the way to work or something, have this conversation back and forth with you. But now I'm stupid and can't think because somebody had to tell me this, because God forbid I have an intelligent conversation with you about whatever the fuck I'm talking about.
Right.
Like it's insulting. And that's why I say, even with our podcast and within the group and just any conversation I have, I feel like it's stuff that I may not agree with you about. Like when Clint was clowning me, talking about, oh no, she argued. I was like, no, I really don't. But Clint was like, no, she really argued. And it's like, no, like when it like we could have went back and forth all day with that. But like really speaking, I really don't argue with people. Like I've done it in the past. I haven't done it recently in the last couple of years because I feel like for me, arguments give me a exhibit of PTSD right now. So I can't have them arguing with nobody because I'm gonna go the fuck off. And that's why I said if I argue with you, I'm going for the jugular. Ain't no we making up and I'm saying shit. No, my whole goal is to fuck your whole life up and hurt every last feeling you got. So I don't argue for that purpose because I know I'm going to say shit that I'm not taking back. I meant every fucking thing I said. So therefore, you can argue me, tell me I'm a piece of shit, and I ain't gonna say shit to you. Like the last person I cussed out has not talked to me in months. Matter of fact, I'm sorry, they called me for fucking a whole week and a half trying to get me to respond because I cussed them the fuck out. Like told them where to go, how to get there, sent them a package about it and everything.
Before we get up out of here, I want to ask y'all this. Bam, I'm gonna come to you first. What do you think about
Tom Brady? Yeah.
One thing I noticed in the group, and I noticed before in other, from when I used to be on Facebook and different groups and just different conversations I had with people, even in person, when it's woman and man, I tend to notice that men and women tend to believe that during a conversation, all right, he a man, so he gonna think like this anyway. So they begin their conversation, or they enter that conversation with that mindset. And I know men who do that with women, but I know a lot of women, when you having a conversation, they automatically, oh, he's a man, he gonna think this way anyway. And I feel like that's kind of dismissive and insulting. I take that personally sometimes. Yeah. You feel me? Like don't assume. Like first of all, we all don't think alike. You know what I mean? We all don't think alike. So we don't have a one train of thought. So have you encountered that? How do you feel like, and how you deal with it when you encounter
I mean, I've seen it. It's those preconceived notions, right?
it?
You know, they initially think that you're going to think a certain way, or that you're going to say a certain thing, or that even when you say one thing, they try to make it like you think something else, right? And it's like,
Exactly.
oh no, this is how I really feel, you know, or this is my real stance, you know. And
It's not for show.
you say what?
It's
I said,
not
this
for
ain't
sure.
for show. This is real opinion.
right, exactly. But I think you know, I mean, luckily, like in this group so far, I haven't seen it a lot. I've seen it sometimes, and it was so funny because one of the posts that had, it was a couple of back and forths that were going on, and not only were people having preconceived comments about other people's comments, but they were also having these preconceived notions about other people's like viewpoints just because they were either black or that they, because of their religion, right? And it was funny to me because I was thinking to myself, like, these are those generalizations that keep popping up. You know, we generalize people. You know, we think just because you black, you Christian, or we think just because you got dreads, you smoke weed, or just because you got, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you got a beard, oh, you must be a dog, you know, whatever it is. You know, so it's like people have these notions and these ideas about how other people think, act, or operate. And you know, and you do see it come out, you know, you see it come out, and even just the text going back and forth. And for me, I look, for me, I don't take it personal, so to speak, because I know how people generalize a lot, and I always, and y'all know how I am, I try my best to say stop generalizing or don't generalize, you know, because I hate generalizations. I loathe generalizations. I just don't like it. You know, I try to tell people all the time, our words are powerful. Our words are powerful. And if you say things like everybody does this and all of y'all do that and everyone is like this, it takes people's choices away. It takes people's power away over their own lives. You know what I mean? When you do that to somebody and you generalize for them, you're taking away their ability to operate and to act on their own, because you've now created a destiny for them. You know, and if you do that, and think about, if you do that to children, that's where I got a big problem with it. Because if you do that to children, you will shape them incorrectly. You know,
Exactly.
be able to shape their own lives. But if you generalize them to death, what do you think they're going to do with it? They're going to live that. You know what I mean? So I always tell people, don't generalize. Just take the you all and the we and the them out of it, and call it what it is. There's either a small minority, a vast majority, a middle section, a middle ground. There's some people up here, there's some people down there. We're not all the same. So don't make it like we are.
I had a couple of instances where I'm not going to call the person out, but they made two posts. One was a question toward women, and I asked the person, "Why are you asking a question about a certain gender?" They asked a question about men, but they're asking women, "How do men think or feel about a certain situation?" Like, shouldn't you ask that question for men? Because we're the ones who think and feel. Only women can do is assume how a guy would feel or whatever the situation was. The second one was, I guess, I want to get the person out, but they asked a question about sex with women. I gave my comment and they said, "Nah, I had to sit this one out." I was being petty. I showed a meme of a little guy running in the corner or whatever. Like, then another guy responded on it, and I said, "No, you got to sit this one out. No men allowed for this question right here, because I can sympathize." You're muted.
No, I was just saying, yeah, I remember that question. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm like, no, I can give my thought and comment on it. It's just that, you know, we should be able to comment on whatever we see that's on a conversation group. Even though it's directed toward one person, seeing another person's point of view might open up some doors and another thought and idea that wasn't there before. Like, wow, that came from a dude. Wow, that was insightful. I didn't know I was coming off as a stupid idiot. No, not saying this person that posted a question. I'm just in generalizing. Sorry. Uh,
But no, I feel you.
so,
No, I mean, and I definitely get you there. You know, I mean, and I've been cautious about certain things that I post only so that people don't feel like only a certain person can answer. You know,
But see, even if you do post a question of ladies, blah blah blah, or like the stuff like that, or men, blah blah blah, it still shouldn't. Either way, it's a free for all. Once you put something out there, whoever's going to comment is going to comment. You have no control over who says what. And to Dane's point, you have to be mindful that what and on top of that, it's a two-way street because we may be saying, ladies, I don't know what the post was, but it could be like, ladies, blah, what are your opinions on blah blah blah? Just for the ladies, right? But the men can see the thought process of some of these women and understand, because when this conversation is had, it's multiple. It goes into an extra thread, so you get to get in depth of what they're talking about. Not saying you can't join it because it's once you, like I said, once you post, it's a free for all. You really can't say who can and can't comment. You can say that, but nobody cares. Whatever. Because if I see a man post to men, blah blah blah, and I feel like I want to chime in, I'm gonna chime in.
she will.
She
will.
When I saw the post, I already was like, I'm not commenting on that post.
Yeah, but like to Dane's point, if he wanted to comment,
they was like, I'm going in. I was like,
Dane skipped over like, oh, I want to comment. I want to say
whispering. I was like, no, don't go.
No, but he should. No, but he should. He and the same. But I hope group members watching this. You posted whoever like it's like I feel like this. If you're gonna post something in the open forum, whoever's gonna answer is gonna answer. Half the people you're gonna like their answer, half the people not. I remember one girl in particular made a post about the side chick thing and blah blah blah, and you could see the answers, and then that's why I commented the way I did, and it wasn't even to be argumentative, but I wanted to make a point. You can't pick and choose the answer because it's an opinion based answer. Mm-hmm. So you may not agree with what everyone else said because her comment was, and like I said, it's not to be anything negative towards it, but her comment was so and so answer my question. Basically, y'all shut the hell up. This person, that's how I took it. This person answered my question, so screw whatever else y'all said because she answered what I said. And it's like, no, you can't pick and choose what's the right answer. This is an opinion.
Right.
Here's our opinion. Yeah, this is why I answer a question, but I also wanted to say, because at the same time, I'm not here to judge anybody. We are all grown as fuck. When you choose to do something, you have to accept the negative and the positive of what you do. You can't dictate how people feel and what people are going to say about it, because Clint may do something that I don't fucking like. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he put it out there, and I'm going to say, you know what, Clint, I don't like that. Yeah, my answer not wrong.
Yeah, we definitely have to understand that there's going to be negative, no matter.
And that's the thing. You can't get yes people. Yeah. It's 250 plus people in that group. They're all not yes people. Nobody's going to cater to what you say. Like I said, we sometimes agree on this podcast. Sometimes we all on the same page. Sometimes we're not. Mm-hmm. We have to be real grown and understand that what Clint said, whatever I say, you're not about to say yes to. And that's why I say it's not to take away from how she felt, because I felt like that answer that person commented was exactly what she wanted to hear. And it's like, that's great, but that's not the only answer, because this is an opinion. Mm-hmm. This is not a yes or no. This is the factual answer. This is an opinion. So everybody's opinion is correct. You just don't agree with it, and that's respected. But let's be grown. Right. You do stuff. If you want that, people are going to judge you. Period. They judge Jesus. They're going to judge you.
If you want that one person's opinion, ask them in a message by themselves.
By themselves.
In phone but it
or
message.
And that's why I said it wasn't. It was just happened to be that person's thought process was the same as hers. Mm-hmm. So that's why she said, well, so-and-so answered my question as to basically, and I felt as a commenter, what you mean? So now everybody else's opinion don't matter? No, ours matter too. But go back to what Clint's question was. It was, what was the question? Because I completely lost it. Because I want to answer that.
It was when you in a conversation, like I know as men, when we in a conversation with another group of women.
Oh, the assumptions.
They already assume that we think a certain way. You feel
me? I feel like
just because we're men.
That's the and I laugh at that because I have a lot of male friends. And that's my conversation when we had the child support conversation. As a person that receives child support for one child and doesn't receive one for another, when we have this conversation, they're like, "Well, you gonna say because you're a parent?" No, I'm not. I'm like, my kids. This is different. That's why one is on and one's not. It's two different reasons why one is on and one is not. It's like, so my opinion is not completely jaded, but I am pro child support for the reason that has nothing to do with the female. It more protects the man. I have a lot of male friends, as I said many a times, and I posted today in the group, and I said, why do we allow our co-parents to dictate? Some of us allow our co-parents to dictate our comings and goings and how we deal with people and how we move on, because they're not prepared. So they have us doing stuff that we shouldn't be doing. Like if me and Clint had a kid, we're not together. He shouldn't be paying all my bills. He shouldn't be buying me furniture because I don't have furniture. Like, you should make sure our kid has furniture, but he shouldn't be maintaining our household, because if Clint decides to go date Shauna down the street, Shauna gonna want to know why Clint always paying my bills and why every month I need this, this, and this, and he paying child support. Right. And I'm asking for this, and this, and why I call him at 11 o'clock at night like our kid is awake. Even if our kid is awake, why are we talking 11 o'clock at night if it's not an emergency? Like, we don't set boundaries, and then you want to go date somebody. This is why I agree with something that Derek Jackson said. And you, like, some people aren't single parents. Some single parents are not single, because y'all got these relationships that are relationships that are not really relationships. I got two kids' father. Ain't none of them calling my house past a certain time, and none of them spend the night, and none of them pay no bills. And if something happens, I got child support for one, and if one I need something for that child, I'm saying, hey, I need XYZ. Or he asked me what he needs. All that extra stuff it's not an issue for us. So if you want to go date Joe Schmo and I want to go date Billy D down the street, I ain't got to explain why you always at my house in the middle of the night, why you popping up, why you doing extraness and all this extra shit. We have to set boundaries. People don't set boundaries, and then they get mad because you want to move on. This person got a problem with your situation with your baby mom or your baby dad because you still have a situation with your baby mom and your baby dad. There's no boundaries. You're trying to protect that thing because you don't want to be put on child support, or you're trying to protect it for whatever reason. As a female does it, I don't know why the fuck they do it, but they just do it because they still emotionally involved or whatever. Mm-hmm. That could be the only reason. So that's a problem. And when we have those child support conversations, everybody's thinking I'm just on the female, get money. It's like, no, take care of the child, leave me the fuck alone. We ain't together. That's where I'm at.
And that's another thing about, because I gotta go in a second. But that's another thing about having a conversation. Like, Sonny could have a point of view, and me, Dane, and Willie could disagree, right? But the reason why I disagree may be completely different
than why they disagree.
We didn't arrive. We may have arrived at the same point, but we ain't arrived there on the same path.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I can always give, because I always had a lot of debates with a lot of, I love debates. You know what I mean? So I always tell people, you know what I mean, you got to understand, you know what I mean, me and somebody could agree on something and it may feel like we're attacking you, but nah, we just agree on that particular point. You know what I mean? And I may be totally against everything else Willie stand for. You feel me? But we just agree on that particular point. He may be A1 on that particular point. But now, I mean, the rest of everything he believe, I'm like, nah. Supposed to have me. What? I ain't posting no. What questions? Which questions? About the cooking and stuff?
No, the one that set off the arguments. But
nah, I thought Willie posted that.
Oh yeah, the
one out.
You never know who posted on the Grown Folk Radio page. Yeah, you just never know.
The GFT radio is me. The Grown Folk is
yeah, but like even that, it could be any of us. Any of us could go in as GFT radio and make a post.
I usually use that account because I don't like posting under myself.
Oh,
and that's why the reason I have put my name in one of the comments, because I knew one of the girls, and I knew she didn't know who she was talking to.
Right.
You was
She thought it could have been any one of us at first.
Yeah. So when I
Gaslit.
put my name and she realized it, that's when she was like, "Oh, I'm about to go tell somebody on you and all that." Because now your whole energy changed when you know who you talk. That was funny to me.
But see, I like posting. I like posting with the GFT radio sometimes because it throws people off of who's posing that question. So you can't because if I post something up, I'll post between both pages, and it's like I want you to get because sometimes it's my general question. It's like that question this morning that I posted about the co-parenting thing. That was conversation I have somebody at that particular moment. We was on the phone talking, and I was like, you know what? Wait a minute. because I feel like for real, that's a whole conversation we can have on the podcast about people setting boundaries when they're co-parenting because that's a big fucking thing.
I mean, actually, we do need to have a show about co-parenting. We do
because that's a whole thing because people don't set boundaries. And as many times as I see people, and I had to get people to the point of respecting my boundaries with my kids.
My opinion for co-parenting. I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna say my opinion for co-parenting. We did a couple shows on that before, but you know what I mean, I hate that word. I hate that word.
Really?
I hate that word co-parenting.
I don't know what else to use. Parenting?
Parenting, yeah.
Well, parenting. Well,
parenting.
I mean, I say co-parenting because you're not you were in a relationship and now you're not together.
That's something for between the last 5 to 6 years that term has exploded. You know what I mean? Growing up, I never heard that term. You feel me? My dad was just my dad. You feel me? My mom was just my mom. One was over there, one was over there.
So I don't think of it.
The topic of that show could be called parenting and aka mind your own goddamn business.
Well, no, so that's exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's my thing. I don't think of co-parenting as something my kids are going to use. That's not a term my kids should be using. No. That's not something that they should be saying. This is my one co-parent and this is my other co-parent.
No, I don't mean it like that.
I think of it more like Sonny just said. Like I'm not with my ex-wife, right? I'm not gonna call. I don't like using the term baby mama. My ex-wife is more than my baby mama. You know, she takes. I mean, not to say that the term baby mama is a negative thing, but it does have.
I don't like that. I don't like that sometimes either.
I feel like we are in.
I ain't a baby mom. I'm a child, a mother.
Yeah, we are.
We are in
a parenting relationship but we're not in a relationship. So that's why I like the term co-parent because I'm in this relationship with this woman, but only for the purpose of parenting. So that's how I look at it. Is that I look at it.
I could dig it
as a positive for that.
I'm like what Sonny mentioned earlier. You know, like I always felt like we discuss certain things when it comes to school, and if there's an issue arrive. But as far as like everyday parent, when she with me, like I'm calling you if something happened. I'm letting you know something. You feel me? But I don't need your input on anything.
Because it should be already understood.
Already understood. And like when she's with her mom, it's not like
she calling you.
I'm calling her like, what's going on? This, that, and the third. It's always a reason why to call. So in the normal, we're just parenting. You feel me? We just doing what parents do. We don't really need no. I understand when you say a relationship, you feel me? But our relationship is like, we're not going to let her play us against each other. Right. So once we come to that understanding, it's like, all right, when she with you, I know she good. When she with me, you know she good. We have our, you know what I mean, understandings. And that's that. Okay. You feel me?
So this is the thing though. When from that standpoint, From that standpoint, the thing is this though: when you are parenting on your own without the mother being there, are you doing things counter to what she would want you to do?
No.
Exactly.
It's
counter to what she does. Of course, you don't have to check with her because you know what she wants you to do as a parent. And you know what you want her to do as a parent, and y'all have to
explain to me what you mean counter.
Counter, Like let's say like this. Let's say like this. When you have your daughter and it's bedtime, and you're like, hey, it's 9 o'clock. It's time for you to go to bed. And I just think it's a good time to go to bed. And your daughter's like, hell no, I ain't going to bed. What you talking about? Don't forget that.
Whoa, language.
Not in that house.
You're like I guess so, and you walked away. But her mother is like, hey, when you have a bedtime set, you're supposed to go to bed, and I want her to go to bed at a certain time. It doesn't have to be 9. I don't care what time she goes to bed with.
I understand what you mean.
You need to have a bedtime set for her, and you're like, well, I just let her do what she wants to do because that's just how I parent. That's counter. You know what I mean? Because now you're creating 2 completely different environments, and you're creating 2 completely different mindsets of parenting to the point of it conflicts. Not to say that it has to match, but if it conflicts,
that happens normally because my son, when he was around his dad, he didn't take out all the toys in the toy box. He played with certain toys and was done. He didn't pull out the whole shebang. When he with me, everything comes out.
Yeah,
and it's like get, and then I put stuff away, but it's a struggle.
I'm sure your son's father doesn't care how he plays at your house. All he cares about is have some toys for my son when he over there. Now, if you were like, no, my son does not play with toys, I would allow that. And then he's like, but he needs to grow up like a kid. You're like, no, he needs to be an adult right now. That's counter. You're not co-parenting.
You know why I say we're kind of counter?
Mm-hmm.
Because we talk about our way of thinking is different. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We have a what's the word I'm looking for? Not theology.
Ideology.
Ideology on life is different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So our households are different.
Right.
So it's like completely different.
But are they completely different to the point of of conflicting where she conflicting, like
her mom's like, for instance, we talk about religion. Mm-hmm. Her mom's go to church, claim to be Christian, all that. Mm-hmm. Y'all know me. Like, nah. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Like, nah. So when she, and then sometimes like for Christmas, all right, well, you're gonna have to go with your mom for Christmas if you want to celebrate Christmas, because daddy don't do none of that here. You feel me? You're not even gonna get a jingle bell out of me.
Right.
You feel me? Over
but
there.
She knew what she was singing.
I'm sorry, y'all, but I just realized it's almost 12 o'clock and we're having a serious conversation about co-parenting. I told y'all 20 minutes ago we're gonna do a show about co-parenting. I knew I was right. We're gonna do a show about co-parenting.
Word up.
Now we gotta do a show about co-parenting. That's why I said.
And jingles. And jingles.
I was ending. Jazz over there laughing. She like, bitch, y'all said y'all was done. Y'all still jacking y'all gums.
I'm like, dang, wait a minute.
Now, we definitely need to have a show with co-parenting and co-parenting, or whatever Clint wants to call it. Parenting. And boundaries.
Is it parenting or is it co-parenting?
Coexisting. Hold on. I got it better yet. Coexisting while parenting and setting boundaries.
Nah,
we'll figure it out.
I don't want to coexist with you. You feel me?
No, how about just PT 101?
I don't need to.
I don't want to coexist.
How about you mind your business, I mind mine? As long as the kid ain't fucked up, we good.
Mind yours.
PT 101.
Kid is happy, healthy, and wholesome. We good.
Like, fuck you too. Let's raise this baby and be done with it.
PT 101. That's all it is. PT 101.
I guess that's because that's how I was raised. When I go with my dad's,
I'm glad he had my baby dad. We would have problems. I was like, my baby's gonna do that. Merry Christmas up in this motherfucker. I'm coming to your house singing Merry Christmas. I'm gonna buy a tree, put that bitch in. Yeah.
One more sleigh come around here, we fight.
I'm gonna come to your house every day with a Santa outfit on, like Santa baby. My baby got no Christmas.
Before we get too far out of control,
it's too late.
Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, Twitch, Facebook. Well, we don't know if we're gonna be on Twitch much longer
because Clint using words.
You will be on YouTube and Facebook Live. Make sure you get some merchandise from teespring.com/store/GFT Radio. Make sure you get that. You can get sweatshirts, t-shirts, I'm sorry, I'm not wearing one today. Masks, all kinds of things, fanny packs. Make sure you get at us on our new and improved GFT Radio Show website, gftradioshow.com.
Dame getting kicked off. He put simp.
You catch us on the social media at GFT_radio on Twitter and Instagram, GFT Radio on Twitch and Facebook. Join the conversation at fb.com/groups/conversation. Make sure you join us. Hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure you
follow me. Make sure you my hair looking crazy. Hold on. Make sure you follow me at IamSunny_D, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and TikTok. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers so I can go live, but my hair is not laying down. Anyway, also visit me at unreservedlyme.com.
Just let your soul glow.
You already know it's your boy Smooth. You can catch me on my blog, kingstruth.com. I'm heavy on Twitter at eTrentonGroomy. Snapchat, I'm on there occasionally. You know what I mean? Unlike Sunny. You know what I mean? I need to get my hair. I don't need my hair to lay down. You feel me? You know what I mean?
Whatever, Clint. Don't be always a raggedy motherfucker always talking shit.
Let your soul glow.
If I drove, I would go to your house and pull your dreads out one by one.
Dame, Agent Shinlo, whatever I'm at. Another Level Up on IG and at Shinlo on Twitch. You can find me at Agent Shinlo on Xbox and PlayStation Network.
A.K. Carl Wislow. Take name of Carl Wislow.
I just added that. Sorry.
No problem. It's your boy Willie Styles. You can get at me at Willie Styles everywhere. IG, Twitter, and TikTok.
AKA Salt and Pepper.
I'm Willie.Styles on Snapchat. I actually posted another picture on Snapchat recently. So that's 2 pictures.
Word up, you did too.
I haven't even been on Snapchat.
He's grown. You grown now.
Getting real wild on Snapchat. Y'all gotta watch out. Get at me at Willie Styles 94 on Twitch. Get at me at stylesradio.com for all the hot tracks. There will be a Styles Radio takeover this week. Make sure y'all look out for that. That will be on Thursday night at 10 p.m.
I think I missed that.
Make sure you come back here on Thursday. Wednesday night, I'll probably be playing some video games. I unfortunately didn't have my camera turned on this last week, but I'll try to turn the camera on this week and play some video games. So come play some Xbox with me. And as always, WillieStyles.info for all my links. And Dame, I'm gonna mute you.
Yeah, mute him and take him off. Kick him out the curb.
Take her out. Take her out.
I'm the prettiest looking thing on this motherfucker tonight.
And the most yellowest.
See y'all in 7 days.
Don't be hating.
7 next time on GFT Radio.
Hey guys, it's your girl Sunny D, 1/3 of the podcast GFT Radio Show.
What up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles from the GFT Radio Show. Just letting you know you can catch us every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern.
And to get some merch, I got some on right now. Go to teesprings.com/stores/GFT Radio.
Grown Folk Talk Radio. Join the conversation. Let's have some fun. Holla.